What would you say if a detective looked you in the eye and said, "Let's just chat informally for a minute"? If your first sentence is wrong, you can hand them the case they couldn't build without you. And once you start talking, that informal check can turn into evidence fast. Hit subscribe right now, because what I'm about to show you could keep your own words from being used against you. Like this video too, so you can find these exact lines fast when a detective suddenly wants just a quick conversation. Here's what you're about to learn. The one question that tells you if you could walk away. The one sentence that shuts down the fake friendly trap. The exact line that puts a lawyer between you and their questions. And the mistake that makes innocent people sound guilty in under 60 seconds. Most people have no idea how often detectives use calm voices, soft words, and fake reassurance to get confessions. They don't start with handcuffs. They start with comfort. They say you're not under arrest. They say you're not a suspect. They say they just want to hear your side. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and the same pattern keeps showing up. The person thinks talking will clear things up. Then the detective takes that talking and turns it into a timeline, a contradiction, or a lie. Let me show you exactly how you stop that before it starts. Now think about your side of it. Your phone rings. A detective says your name came up. He wants you to swing by. Or maybe two detectives show up at your home or job and smile like this is no big deal. They tell you they just want to clear a few things up. You want to look cooperative. You want to look innocent. So you start helping. That is where people get buried. Here's the reality. Detectives do not need your confession to hurt you. They just need your words to lock you into a story. Then they compare your story to phone records, texts, cameras, receipts, or another witness. If one detail is off, they say you lied. If you guess, they say you changed your story. If you try to explain too much, they say you were hiding something. Your biggest danger is not silence. Your biggest danger is trying to sound harmless. The first tactic is finding out whether you can leave before you say anything else. Here's exactly what you say. Am I free to leave? Word for word. Memorize that line. That sentence matters because detectives love blurry situations. They want you unsure. They want you seated in the room, answering little questions, without fully knowing whether this is voluntary or not. The moment you ask, "Am I free to leave?" you force them to show their hand. If they say yes, your next move is simple. You leave. You do not stay to help. You do not keep chatting in the hallway. You do not think leaving makes you look guilty. You just leave, calmly, politely, quietly. This is 100% legal. You are allowed to ask if you are free to leave. You are allowed to end a voluntary conversation with police. Former police officers have confirmed this works because it breaks the soft pressure trick. If the chat is truly informal, then you can walk away. If you cannot walk away, then you need to stop treating it like a friendly talk and start protecting yourself. Bad way. Most people say, "Sure, I can talk for a minute." Then that minute becomes 45 minutes of questions, guessing, and contradictions. Good way. Smart people say, "Am I free to leave?" Then they either walk out or learn instantly that this is more serious than the detective is pretending. Watch what happens when you ask that question early. The whole tone changes. If the detective says, "Why would you want to leave if you've got nothing to hide?" that tells you everything. Innocent people hear that and feel pressure to stay. Smart people hear that and realize the detective is already pushing guilt. Your job is not to win a personality contest. Your job is to protect your future. There is legal backup for this too. In Florida versus Bostick, the Supreme Court focused on whether a reasonable person would feel free to end the encounter. Plain English. If you are free to leave, then you do not have to sit there and answer questions just because an officer sounds nice. That idea matters for you because voluntary interview is often just a prettier label for "we hope you talk yourself into trouble." And if you're already sitting in that small room when the detective says, "Relax, this is informal," your first move is still the same. Am I free to leave? Not, "What's this about?" Not, "Am I in trouble?" Not, "Can I explain?" Your first question tells you which world you're in, voluntary or not, friendly or dangerous, open door or closed trap. Think you could actually say that with detectives staring right at you? Let me know in the comments, because the next line is the one that stops your silence from being twisted later. The second tactic is saying your silence out loud so nobody can pretend you waved it. Here's exactly what you say. "I'm invoking my right to remain silent." Those exact words. Say them slowly. This line is powerful because just sitting there quietly is not always enough. That surprises people. They think silence speaks for itself. It often does not. Here's the trick they don't want you knowing. In some situations, if you stay quiet without clearly invoking your right, that silence can still hurt you later. That is why your words matter so much. You need to claim the right. Out loud. Clearly. No jokes. No attitude. No maybe. Bad way. Most people say, "I don't know if I should talk," or "maybe I should wait," or "I've got nothing to say right now." Then the detective keeps pushing because you never clearly invoked your right. Good way. Smart people say, "I'm invoking my right to remain silent." Then the record is much cleaner and your position gets stronger right away. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court because it is clean and hard to twist. It does not sound unsure. It does not invite more questions. It tells the detective you know what you're doing, and you do not need to explain why you're using it. Innocent people use it. Guilty people use it. Smart people use it. That is the point. This is 100% legal. You do not have to fill the silence. You do not have to clear things up on the spot. You do not have to answer because the detective says, now is your chance. That line protects you from the oldest trick in the book. The detective makes you think only guilty people ask for rights. That is backwards. People with something to protect ask for rights, and you have a lot to protect. The legal backup here is huge. In Salinas versus Texas, the Supreme Court showed why clearly invoking your Fifth Amendment right matters. Plain English. If you just go quiet without clearly saying you're using your right, that silence may not protect you the way you think. So do not mumble, do not shrug, do not stare at the floor and hope the detective gets the message. Give the message yourself. I'm invoking my right to remain silent. Let me show you exactly why this matters for your real life. Detectives ask questions that sound harmless. When did you last see him? Why was your number in her phone? Can you explain this text? You think you can handle those. Then one answer leads to 10 more. Your memory gets shaky because you're nervous. Now your own uncertainty looks suspicious. Once you invoke silence clearly, you stop feeding that machine. You stop helping them build the puzzle around you. The third tactic is the one that changes the whole room. Listen closely because this is critical. You look at the detective and say this, I want a lawyer before any questions. Word for word. Memorize that line too. Not, maybe I should get a lawyer? Not, do you think I need a lawyer? Not, can I call someone first? Those are weak. Detectives can talk right through weak. You need clear. You need direct. I want a lawyer before any questions. Here's why it works. Once you clearly ask for a lawyer during custodial questioning, the rules change. The detective is not supposed to just keep going like nothing happened. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings. In Miranda versus Arizona, the court said, police must warn people in custody about the right to remain silent and the right to a lawyer. Then, in Edwards versus Arizona, the court said, if you ask for a lawyer, questioning should stop until a lawyer is there, unless you start the conversation again yourself. Plain English. You ask for a lawyer, the interview is supposed to hit the brakes. Bad way. Most people say, I guess I can answer a few things without a lawyer. Then the detective locks them into details they can never take back. Good way. Smart people say, I want a lawyer before any questions. Then the pressure shifts, the room changes, and the detective loses the easy path. Watch what happens after you say it clearly. First, the detective may act hurt. Why make this hard? Then he may act helpful. A lawyer will just slow this down. Then he may act confident. If you were innocent, you'd want to explain. None of that changes your answer. You repeat it. I want a lawyer before any questions. Calm, flat, no debate. Here's the reality. Detectives are trained to keep you talking after you start getting nervous. They know the first clean denial is not usually the useful part. The useful part is the long, messy explanation after the denial. That is where people guess, panic, and contradict themselves. A lawyer cuts off that slide. A lawyer slows the whole thing down. A lawyer protects you from trying to save yourself with bad words. And do not fall for the fake promise. We're just trying to help you. This is your chance. If you lawyer up, the prosecutor will think the worst. None of that is your problem. Your problem is protecting your freedom. Your problem is making sure you do not become the easiest witness against yourself. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection when detectives turn friendly pressure into a real interrogation. Most people already clicked away. If you're still here, you're in the top 10%. Drop a comment saying, I'm still here, because this next move protects you when detectives reach for your phone and try to call it cooperation. The fourth tactic is refusing consent to searches before you get talked into helping. Here's exactly what you say. I do not consent to any searches of my phone, car, home, or accounts. Say it just like that. This matters because detectives often switch from questions to access. They say, just let us look through your phone for 1 second. Or, if you have nothing to hide, unlock it. Or, can we take a quick look in your car and clear this up? That sounds small. It is not small. Your phone is your texts, photos, searches, notes, locations, and private life. Your home is your space. Your car may hold things you forgot were even there. The moment you consent, you make their job easier and your defense harder. Bad way. Most people say, go ahead, I've got nothing to hide. Then detectives start digging through messages, photos, and data they never could have grabbed that easily before. Good way. Smart people say, I do not consent to any searches of my phone, car, home, or accounts. Then detectives have to rely on real legal authority, not your nervous cooperation. This line matters even more because detectives frame consent like proof of innocence. That is a trick. Innocence is not proved by giving up your privacy. It is proved by the facts. You do not need to hand over your life to look honest. Riley v. California helped show how private phones really are. Plain English. The Supreme Court recognized that your phone holds a huge amount of your life. And in consent cases like Schneckloth v. Bustamante, courts have treated voluntary consent as a big deal. If you say yes, that yes can do real damage later. So keep it short. Keep it simple. I do not consent to any searches of my phone, car, home, or accounts. Then stop talking. No extra story. No half yes. No, just not my messages. No, only for a second. The safer move for you is clean refusal. Now let's tie the law together in simple English, because you need this map in your head. Miranda v. Arizona means if police are questioning you in custody, you have the right to stay silent and ask for a lawyer. Plain English. You do not have to help them question you. Edwards v. Arizona means once you clearly ask for a lawyer, they are supposed to stop questioning until one is there. Plain English. Your lawyer request is not a suggestion, it is a stop sign. Salinas v. Texas shows why you should clearly say you are invoking silence instead of just sitting there quietly. Plain English. If you want the protection, say it out loud. Those cases fit your tactics perfectly. First, find out if you are free to leave. Second, clearly invoke your right to remain silent. Third, clearly ask for a lawyer before any questions. Fourth, refuse consent to searches. That is not being difficult. That is being smart. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings, and it matters because detectives count on confusion. Your job is clarity. Their job is collecting information. Those goals are not the same. Now let me show you exactly how this plays out in real life. You get a call on a Tuesday afternoon. A detective says your friend got arrested. Your name came up. He says you're not in trouble. He just wants to hear your side. You go down to the station because you think helping will make this disappear. You sit in a plain room, no cuffs, no yelling, just a bottle of water and a calm smile. Then the detective says, "This is informal. We just need to clear up your timeline." Wrong way first. You smile back. You say, "Sure, ask whatever you want." He asks where you were Friday. You guess. He asks who you texted. You forget one name. He shows you a screenshot you did not expect. You start fixing your story. He asks to see your phone. You hand it over because you want to look innocent. An hour later, you are trapped in your own words, and the detective now has your statements, your nervous corrections, and your data. Now the right way. Same room, same smile, same detective. He says, "Let's just chat informally." You say, "Am I free to leave?" If he says yes, you leave. If he says no or dodges the question, you say, "I'm invoking my right to remain silent." Then you follow with, "I want a lawyer before any questions." If he asks for your phone or says cooperation will help you, you say, "I do not consent to any searches of my phone, car, home, or accounts." Then you stop talking. See the difference for you? In the wrong version, you helped build the case. In the right version, you gave them almost nothing. No loose story, no contradictions, no fake consent, no panic words. Just clean, strong, simple lines. That is how you stop an informal chat from becoming the worst mistake of your life. Coming next week, what to do when detectives say, "Just unlock your phone and we'll give it right back." Subscribe because that video could save your entire life from being exposed. So lock these lines into your head right now. First ask, "Am I free to leave?" Because you need to know if the door is still open. Second, say, "I'm invoking my right to remain silent." Because silence works best when you claim it clearly. Third, say, "I want a lawyer before any questions." Because a lawyer changes the whole game. Fourth, say, "I do not consent to any searches of my phone, car, home, or accounts." Because consent is how people give away privacy they can never get back. Hit subscribe so you catch that phone search video next week. Smash the like button if this just gave you words you can actually use. And drop a comment telling me which exact line you're going to memorize first. Stay safe out there.